Hi, my name is Moshe Genuth, and you're watching a short review of Rabbi Ginsburg's third live broadcast from the month of August 2016. In the last lecture that the Rav gave live over the internet, he was talking about three great battles, symbolic battles, between the Savior of the generation, the Messiah in each generation, and a giant. The two first giants are documented in the Bible. The one is called Og, Melech HaBashan, the king of the Bashan, who Moshe Rabbeinu fought when the Jewish people were about to enter the land of Israel, just before. And the second giant is Goliath, with the famous battle that he had with David. And that was just before David started on his path to becoming the king of Israel. The third battle between a Messiah, a savior of the generation, and a giant is explained by the sages, specifically by the Targum Yonatan, who mentions that the name of this giant who will appear at the end of times is Armilus. And he will be battled by the messianic figure of that generation. And depending on the outcome of that battle, the messianic figure will either go on to become the complete redeemer of the Jewish people and the rest of the world, or he will fail and he will be succeeded by somebody else who will take his place and then try the battle again. There were a lot of details that Rabbi Ginsburg gave about the three battles. I want to maybe focus on a few of the new things that he said that are not written or they're not so clear in earlier sources. The first one was that the Messiah battles this giant called Armilus not the way that Moshe Rabbeinu battled Og or that David battled Goliath, but rather that the battle has to be a spiritual battle, and the Messiah uses his lips through prayer to win this battle. And what does that mean? So I think that here we had a beautiful example of how you can expand on a topic that everybody's very familiar with and take it to a new depth by meditating upon this idea that by using his lips, the Messiah will win this battle. What Rabbi Ginsburg explained is that a lot of times we don't understand the value of prayer. What is the value of prayer? So he explained that it's like a farmer who goes to the field and plows and sows seeds and takes care of the plants as they're growing. The produce that he generates, what he gets out of the field, is infinitely more than if he would have left it barren. Even when a field is barren, still things grow. They're called svichim in Hebrew. But the amount of produce that's produced is a fraction, a very small fraction of what's produced when the farmer tills the land and works the land. The same is true of our lives, that though God is doing everything anyway, our contribution is to make what's happening all that much more better than if we wouldn't be involved. The value of prayer is not necessarily in creating the reality, which God will create anyway, but rather in transforming it and making it into something that's much more than it would have been if we didn't add our contribution in the form of prayer. The other thing that he spoke about regarding prayer is that the battle, the redemption, depends upon it. What does redemption mean? So really, a lot of times people are challenged by the fact that it's not clear whether prayer really adds or does anything. Sometimes people feel that they pray and nothing really happens. What the Rabbi explained is that for prayer to show results, for you to be able to see the result from and the change in reality from your having prayed, that itself is redemption, because redemption is the revelation of godliness. And when you see your prayers answered, that's probably the greatest revelation of godliness that you can see in your life, and therefore prayer has this ability. You could almost say that it's another way of saying what prayer is. Prayer is redemption in the sense of that when prayer is answered, when it has an effect, that's when the redemption actually occurs, whether it's on the individual level or when it's on the general level. I just want to end with one short point. The Rabbi explained that each one of these battles corresponds to something that Lubavitcher Rebbe spoke about many times. There are three forms of completion, of wholeness and perfection in our lives that we need to guard. And they are the wholeness and perfection of the Torah, the wholeness and perfection of the land of Israel, and the wholeness and perfection of the Jewish people. What this means is that each one of these areas of our lives, we have to do all that we can. It's a battle to make sure that they remain whole. With the Torah, it's clear that many people think maybe the Torah has parts that we don't need anymore. Maybe something is outdated and so on. The Torah remains complete. Every single letter is in its place. Every single instruction is in its place. All the words are in their place. And you can't have a Torah without every single letter. The same way with the land of Israel, which was one of the big problems in our generation also. You can't have part of the land of Israel. The land of Israel has to be complete. It has to be perfect. But the stress that the Rav gave, which I thought was incredibly important, is that the real battle that's being fought today between the Messiah and this giant Armilus is over the wholeness and perfection of the Jewish people. That the real Holocaust of our generation is assimilation. And assimilation is actually hurting us even more than the original Holocaust in many ways in terms of numbers. And in that sense, that has to be our focus when thinking about how to redeem our people, how to redeem the world. It has to begin from thinking about how do we ensure that every Jew feels connected to their heritage, how every Jew feels that they should only marry a Jewish man or woman, and how every Jew should feel that he's just as much a part of our people as anybody else. Thank you.